I am beating every N64 game, and I mean all of them. The twist is, the next game I play is randomly selected, so I have no clue what's coming next. This is the journey to beating every N64 game. Game number 177, California Speed. Released in 1999, this game was developed by Atari Games and published by Midway. I kind of recall seeing arcade cabinets for this growing up, but I might just be thinking of Cruisin'. Being a Midway racing game, it's probably going to be very arcade feeling. Personally, Cruisin' USA is one of the games I'm most looking forward to playing, mostly because I haven't seen it since I was like 7 years old. Hopefully this one's pretty fun though. It's another one of the 6 trillion racing games on this console. Let's get into it. The main single player mode in this game is the series, so that's what we'll be doing to beat this game. There were 5 to choose from, so I figured I'd just start with light. It said I was in week 1 at Silicon Valley. I had to choose what car to use. You can change the colors of 2 different sections and even change your rims. There's the Hopper, Fairchild, Mercado, and a golf cart? Well, I didn't want to go slow, so I chose the Hopper. The race starts with everyone near each other. I was noticing right away that the turning in this game is so drastic. Like you barely tap it and it goes so much. It doesn't really spin you out or anything though. There's a timer you have to outrun and there are checkpoints placed throughout the track to give more time. I'll be real though, it's pretty easy to not run out in this game. Despite the turning being so crazy, you basically never lose control. I could keep the accelerator going the entire time and literally never press the brake. After driving through San Francisco for a bit, I came upon a large building. Once going inside, things got wild. The colors shifted to being all psychedelic. Then it seemed like I was driving inside of a computer. Yo, where's my Uber driver taking me? It's so jarring going from the normal realistic looking city to this place. The track ends by you driving through like a DVI connector. I bonked here and slowed down quite a lot. Of course, the end of the race was right here as I got past. Not sure if that was rubber banding or what. They're scored on a traditional point system in a Grand Prix format, so I was in second place. Next race was Santa Cruz. I also decided to swap out the golf cart this time because it felt like different vehicles were just for looks. When the race started, yeah, I was absolutely out of control. I think this might be the most sensitive steering I've ever played in a driving game. The only real UI element of note is the radar in the bottom left. The blue dot is me, the yellow are other racers, and the green are just generic cars. When I got to the docks area, there was a sharp turn and I slammed into the wall. When I did, the computer instantly caught up. It seems the way this game works is if you never slow down, you stay in first. If you slow down at all though, you'll get passed right away. Either way, looks like you don't take any damage for crashing. I thought it was strange how this track was completely normal after that last one. Is this course not going to get all wild like the last one did? Oh, I spoke too soon. My thoughts were immediately changed when the track opened up to have me driving on a roller coaster track. I really like all these wacky environments to be driving on, especially in an arcade style game. I'm not sure I agree with the 3-lane roller coaster track though. Like, I've seen 2 coasters racing before, but these are just too close. It'd be way too dangerous. I got first place here without too much trouble. Race 3 was the Central Valley. It started with me driving through some farms. I'll take this time to talk about the graphics and audio. The graphics are just not very good. Like, all the textures are pretty poor quality to me. That being said, the draw distance is good and the frame rate's stable. It gives a good sense of moving fast. The music is kind of all over the place. Some of it's techno, some is punk rock sounding, or then there's this level that has bluegrass. That being said, I like all the music in this game. After driving through the farms for a while, we drove into the local mall. It was completely empty with not a single customer in sight. Little did Midway know, they predicted what malls would look like nowadays. This water area was kinda wild to drive through. Honestly, this part of the game reminded me of skating through the mall in Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. This was yet another easy win, and it was the start of a trend. Race 4 is Mojave, where we're driving through the desert. There's this unfinished bridge that has segments being held up by helicopters. There's no way this is safe. But then again, nothing is in this universe. After about a minute of driving through the desert, we came upon a parked giant flying saucer. They should probably do something about that, but I guess we're going inside. It's quite convenient, there's a path through this entire thing that's perfect for me to drive along. These orange ring things are kind of trippy. Yet another easy win for the golf cart. I was crushing it now. Race 5 and the last of the week was San Diego. Surely this place will be normal. And we're crossing the border into Mexico. Okay, yeah, sure. The track was called San Diego, but we can do this too. Okay, and yeah, now we're crossing back into the US. That's a strange route to take. Then after that, the bridge I was on is out and I just landed on an aircraft carrier. So we were in San Diego, then we crossed into Mexico, then onto a US naval base, and then back into San Diego? I honestly love how these tracks are just absurd. It makes it feel a lot more fun. I got another easy first place here. It told me congratulations because I was in the top 3 to advance to week 2. Now you might be thinking, oh, week 2, there's going to be some new tracks, right? Well, not yet. It's still just Silicon Valley. Okay, but the competition is going to get tougher, right? Nah, the computer stayed the exact same difficulty. So yeah, I raced the exact same 5 tracks against the exact same AI and won once again. I made top 3 and advanced to week 3. After racing the same 5 tracks for a third time, it said I was the Light Series champion and played a cutscene with my golf cart going through the finish line with a car stopped behind me. And then the credits played. Well, I guess you could call this an any percent clear, but I decided I may as well beat all the series because that was pretty short. Now it was time for the sports series. The first track was LA, a good sign. There were some new vehicles this time too. The Sportster, the Muscle, the 486 SE, and the Fairchild was back. I went with the 486 SE. Near the start of this track there were 2 paths, but they ultimately converged on the same point. You might be expecting the cars this time to go faster or something? Nah, they still hover around 170 miles per hour. About halfway through, the track led into a waterway. Is this the sewer? I don't know. So yeah, I drove through that, then what I think is supposed to be Beverly Hills, and now we're driving directly through Hollywood where they film everything. There were signs for Studio A, C, and D, but no B. This is like that thing where you release pigs labeled 1, 2, and 4, so everyone's looking for number 3. I finished this one in 2nd place. Not bad, not bad. Race 2 was Mount Shasta. Near the start were some jumps that sort of gave off vibes of San Francisco Rush, but at a much lower scale. Yeah, this track has its own shenanigans. I drove into a cave where there was just lava everywhere. Must be some kind of volcano. Why and how is there a paved and painted road going through this place anyway? I'll say about these environments, the looks of the tracks are really cool. The design itself though is kind of bland. Most of the time you're just going straight or barely turning. There's just not much interesting happening, I guess. After exiting the volcano, I took 1st place cleanly. Race 3 was called Highway 1. We were on a narrow road in the woods when I had a head-on collision. Luckily for me, another racer just rammed me and brought me back up to speed. It's not just me with the crashes either. The AI can run into one of the civilian cars, I guess you could call them. Easy way to take 1st place. This track was mostly normal, you know, until it had me driving through this plowed field or whatever. What even is this? This led to, I don't know, some weird place? Kinda looks like a pathway you'd walk into an amusement park from. There were 2 huge pools of water in this area and yeah, I don't know what this is. Reminds me of Evergreen Gardens from Roller Coaster Tycoon. I got 2nd place this time, still in 1st in points by a lot. Race 4 is San Francisco. You start driving on some bridge and there are holes in it. They should probably fix that. I nearly fell in one of them, but luckily I could drive on 2 wheels. It appears there's another layer of bridge if you fall, so you don't die or anything like that. There was this incredibly steep hill, which is honestly kind of accurate for this city. The camera got weird on it though. We hit another bridge and there appeared to be infinite traffic. So we just drove over the suspension cables instead. It's like Radical Highway in Sonic Adventure 2. Now I was driving through a subway tunnel. I didn't even know they had one there. I thought this place had that BART thing. I've only been once, so that may be wrong. The race finished after this where I ran over one of the women dancing at the finish line. I struggled a bit in that tunnel and got 3rd place. The final track was called Monterey. This started normal enough, but then I found myself driving on the beach. Why were there semi-trucks here too? I found it hard to tell the turns were coming up in this part. The radar is basically pointless, so I wish they implemented a minimap instead. The beach leads to a dock with a ramp and part of it unfinished. What's with this universe and all the roads being so dangerous? Get these things constructed. Ah, geez, now I'm driving through an aquarium. I think it'd be so cool to be able to be in some underwater glass tunnel where you could see all the wildlife swimming around. Okay, so the one place it actually would have made sense to be driving the golf cart, and it isn't one of the choices. Look, I don't even know what's going on in this game anymore. At least I feel like I'm winning. I took first place here and I was easily top 3 to advance to week 2. Just like before, I had to repeat this for 3 weeks. To my surprise, in week 2, the 4th track was new. Fuji. This is basically like a professional racetrack. This was one of the only tracks to have actual tight turns, and I found it quite difficult to drive well here. The computers were slamming into the wall as well, so it was a bit frustrating because it looked like they were just ignoring the physics I had to deal with. Instead of one big track, this one was smaller and had 3 laps. I got 5th place here, by far the worst I'd had in the entire game. Good thing I only need top 3 in points. The last race of week 3 was also new, and it was called Clover. This was just another racetrack style like Fuji. The only thing of note here is sometimes there were 2 separate paths you could go down. Otherwise, it's just a standard racetrack. I got 2nd place here, but I was in 1st for points, and I was now the Sport Series champion. Well, now it's time for the Heavy Series. Here I could drive as the Muscle, the Convertible, the Sled, and the Baja. Unfortunately, tracks started to repeat now. The first course was Monterey, same as the Sports Series. Race 2 was new though, Yosemite. As you might expect, this is driving through the forest. There are also lots of log cabins. It opens up into driving through the mountains. I've never been to this place, but I bet it looks really pretty. The mountain became quite steep at one point. The camera just does not know what to do in this scenario. If you get motion sickness from video games, this might be a rough one to drive through. I got 2nd place here, not bad at all. Race 3 was a repeat with Mojave, race 4 was a repeat with Mount Shasta, and unfortunately 5 was a repeat with San Francisco. Only one new track in this series. Week 2 had my back though, as the last track was new, just called Oval. This is another one of those racetrack type courses where, you guessed it, you drive in an oval. There was a football field in the center, but it was inaccessible. The track was so short that I had to do 6 laps. I got 3rd place, a respectable finish. The last track in week 3 was new, San Andreas. Hopefully I don't have to follow any trains. It starts with driving through a bunch of ravines. Then in one of the ravines there was a bunch of small streams of water. The water slows you down a lot, I found watching this back. I thought I saw a shortcut off to the left, but there's just an invisible wall. Luckily, you can restart a race with no penalty. This was the hardest track to drive on so far, mostly because there were just so many things to slam into. I have no idea what this weird bridge is supposed to be. This one had laps somehow. It definitely looks like one that would be one long continuous thing, but yeah, it has laps. I got 1st place here, and that was the end of that. I was now the Strong Series champion. For some reason, there was a Mountain Dew truck parked during the cutscene. The 4th series was just called State. Apparently, this is like how you would play the game in the actual arcade. You just race through all the tracks of California. At least I could go back to my trusty golf cart. Unfortunately, none of these tracks are different from the other series. It's all the same ones other than the racetrack style ones. I noticed San Andreas was missing too. The final series was just called Cup, and it was 6 weeks. I decided to drive as the Mountain Dew truck, cause why not? Hey, if y'all want to sponsor this video, just say so. I think that stuff tastes nasty though, so maybe it won't work out. Another vehicle I unlocked was the semi-truck. May as well put these things to use, although they all have the exact same physics from what I can tell. After grinding through all 6 weeks with repeat tracks, I was finally rewarded with something new for the very last one. It was just called California. And this was wild. We were gigantic and just destroying the entire city of presumably Los Angeles. I'm not really sure if this is the other map scaled down to tiny size or what. Like, how small the road is here. Here's some kind of river within the mountains. Not even as wide as one of my tires. This led into like a desert mountain where there was a city nestled in one of the valleys. I felt like I was out of bounds because none of the ways looked like the correct path. Okay, how was I supposed to know to just make a 90-degree turn right there? There's no indication. After driving through some grassy hills and destroying yet another city, I finished lap 1. Man, that was almost 3 minutes. This is the longest one by far. I got 2nd place in whatever that was, but I was winning in points, so it didn't matter. It plays that same cutscene with me driving up to the finish line saying I'm the California Cup champion. I can't believe you don't unlock any vehicles for doing that. Come on, man. There was only one cheat code I could find online to just allow you to move the screen around. This is horrible. Why would you ever want to do that? But yeah, that's about all there is for this one. Game complete. So yeah, there you have it. My journey to beating California Speed. This one is pretty alright. Like, I don't know. It's just a good game to mindlessly drive at high speeds. There were around 15 tracks in total, which is a pretty hefty amount. I really enjoyed all the wacky environments you drive through too. I think the game doesn't take itself too seriously, and that's a good thing. The graphics aren't the greatest, but the game does run smooth. I really like the variety of music too, and it's a strong point for this one. Would I say this is a must play? Nah, but it's worth checking out a bit in my opinion. I gave California Speed a 5 out of 10 for enjoyability and a 1 out of 10 for difficulty. Alright, thanks for watching, I hope you enjoyed. We had a randomized marble race to determine which game was next, so here's how that played out. Or skip to the timestamp on screen to skip straight to the game selection. 214 games left on the list. Alright, everybody's here. Cruisin', Animal Crossing, Gex, Mario Golf, they're all here. Let's see what happens. Alright, this is more a race than... Why does everything have a... Oh, they're on the first lap. This is absolute chaos, folks. Tetrasphere appears to have a lead. No, Clay Fighter now in the lead. We're probably going to see a lot of lead changes here as we come down to the races. This is a 3-lap race, folks. Dark Rift now in the lead. Army Men, Sarge's Heroes 2, Rugrats. Oh my god, and Madden. Of course Madden's trying to make a play, folks. Rugrats hanging on for now. Morita Shogi 64 coming in. South Park as well. You see Paper Mario there. Castlevania Legacy of Darkness. And so far Shogi holding on to this lead. Will it keep up? We're only on the first lap, folks. We got a long way to go. And Shogi just dominating, taking the inside turns beautifully for now. We got Rugrats, South Park, GKO, GI Stable, Mia Hamm, Soccer not too far behind. And Shogi just pulling ahead. Shogi is dominating right now. It's not even close, folks. Let's see who's in the back. Who's struggling right now? Ogre Battle, Quake 2 probably won't have a chance. And Shogi is already on lap 2, folks. Shogi is just annihilating the competition. I mean, it's not even close. Shogi is just way out there. And we see Top Gear coming ahead. Maybe Top Gear can take down Shogi and save us from this nightmare. Top Gear, Mia Hamm, Saki, Fighting Force 64, NBA Live 2000, Banjo-Kazooie, I see that there. Vigilante 8, F-Zero as well. And the lead for Shogi is narrowing. NBA Live is trying to make a play. Shogi taking the outside turns for some reason. And Shogi is just running out of gas. And NBA Live has officially taken the lead. NBA Live 2000 now ahead of Shogi. Mia Hamm, Soccer, Hexen, Rugrats, Fighting Force 64, Top Gear Game not too far behind. And I think Shogi's out of gas, folks. I don't see Shogi winning this race. Used all of their energy to get an early lead and... convinces no, Shogi discovering its second wind. Shogi now taking the lead again. NBA Live, Top Gear, Fighting Force, Mia Hamm, Soccer, Hexen, and Resident Evil 2 is now trying to come in. And NBA Live passing. We got a lot of lead changes here. And NBA Live is kind of pulling away, folks. NBA Live way ahead of Shogi, but Fighting Force 64 now in second place. Shogi falling as far as 4th place, folks. NBA Live quite far ahead. Fighting Force 64 and Resident Evil 2 collides with Fighting Force. That's going to give Resident Evil 2 a bit of an advantage. Hexen coming in as well. Top Gear game. Some Japanese game. Resident Evil 2 is in second. NBA Live in first. Resident Evil 2 goes for the attack. An aggressive play, but I like it. Does not connect. Tries to take NBA Live out of the race. And Top Gear getting quite a boost here. Top Gear coming in. NBA Live 2000 still in the lead. I don't actually know when this ends, folks. So it's neck and neck. And Mia Hamm Soccer coming in. Top Gear. NBA Live still in the lead. Can anything stop NBA Live 2000? Resident Evil 2, Top Gear, NBA Live 2000. I think we're nearing the end. There's the end, folks. Can Resident Evil 2 pass NBA Live at the last second? No, it is NBA Live 2000. Resident Evil tried. It's just always almost something sick every time. Every time. NBA Live 2000. It has been decided. But yeah, if you're still here watching, you're awesome. Thank you so much. If you had a good time, consider hitting that like button, or maybe even dropping a subscription. Or hey, maybe even watch another one of these videos that's on screen now. And yeah, see you next time.